Hey guys, Sifu Adlik here, Master Instructor at Kung Fu at Home. Thanks for joining me. I want to talk to you today about something that is amazingly simple but very useful, and I think it's going to help you overall with physical health and also with mental health and your confidence. It's kind of funny how simple this is, but as my teacher Grandmaster Chow says, simple, useful. Simple is useful. Don't overcomplicate things if you don't have to. And what I'm talking about is actually the very old simple martial arts technique, the technique of chambering. Very basic position in martial arts, and it gets overlooked because there's not really that much glamorous or fancy to it. There's not a lot going on other than the hands are in position, looking like they're ready to do something, punch or strike or block or whatever. And I was reminded about this whole lesson actually the other day by one of my students, who's a great massage therapist, very professional and very caring for clients, and they were teaching them, some of their clients about chambering their hands like we do in Kung Fu, and they were using that to help them with their posture, and it actually helped them a lot because they're typically hunched over all the time, like a lot of us are. We're typing or on our phones. Our shoulders are getting kind of rounded forward all the time out of habit, and our neck is slouching forward from sitting at a desk too much. Now this is obviously a negative thing on a physical level. We know this by now. We know that it's not going to be good for us to be slouching all the time. But the one thing we don't think about is that the effect this is going to have on us psychologically. There's one very important thing that I learned early on in Kung Fu, and it was taught to me when I was young, and it has profoundly had a positive effect on my whole life. And that lesson is that the body follows the mind, and the mind follows the body. Meaning that what we think will affect our body, but also how we position our body will also have an effect on our thinking. So it's not a one-way street. It's a relationship there. The problem with bad posture when our shoulders are sunken forward or rounded like that is only part physically, it's physically detrimental, but that's only a part of it. The other part is we need to consider what that's doing to us as far as our mental health goes. If we know that the body follows the mind, but then the mind also follows the body, what is that posture what is that posture doing for us consistently? If we're doing it consistently, what kind of effects is that having on us psychologically? There's a fantastic book called Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, and in it he talks about confident people and how they walk about 25% faster on average than people that are not so confident. They stand up straight more often too. He talks about what he calls walk watching, right? A hobby that he started from a young age, and how you can tell based on their walk of people a lot about them, whether they're content or not, whether they're happy and confident or not. You can often tell by their posture, by their walk, by the way they carry themselves. Now, at first, if we're in a negative mindset, we would easily say, well, yeah, that's easy for them. They don't have the problems that I have, and they have it a lot better than I do. But if we just tell that stupid voice in our head to shut up just for a second, we might, and we think more wisely, we might realize that the walk and posture, to an extent, may not be the result of their circumstance, but also their circumstance may be the product of their walk and their posture. Right? It's not a straight one-way cause and effect relationship. When we give ourselves a little nudge to start standing up and walking a little quicker, with a little quicker pace, we do start to feel more confident and more capable. We'll see that. We teach a version of this to our kids classes, even on our first day when a young student comes in to learn Kung Fu. The first thing we teach them is that, about eye contact. We teach that if someone is more confident themselves, they tend to have a lot more eye contact with other people. But likewise, if we push ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone and get ourselves to make more eye contact with people regularly, then also we start to feel more confident as a result of that. So that posture and sitting up straight thing is important for more than, just for the sake of impressing our chiropractor. It's more necessary nowadays. We have to overcompensate for all the time that we spend at a desk hunched over or hunching over, looking over our phone or looking at a screen. It's interesting to note that depression and anxiety seem to be more prevalent now than ever. And also, we're spending more time kind of hunched over and ever. And it may just be a coincidence. I'm sure that at least to some degree it's related, and I can't help thinking that if we made it a habit of sitting up straight with the shoulders back, it would more likely have a positive effect on our mindset and then possibly our overall mental health, right? The interesting thing about that, again, going back to chambering, is, and that's a very basic position in martial arts, right, that we do on day one. A lot of people throw it out the window as kind of an old thing that we do for the sake of tradition, not being very practical, but we can see that while you're training in this chambered position like this, it's helping you pull your shoulders back, it's helping you keep your back up straight and your spine more aligned upward, right? People know generally that training martial arts teaches confidence, but they don't typically know why or how exactly. A lot of it is because of that, because posture, which induces a more confident state of mind. When you hold more confident positions, you tend to feel more confident as a result, and that makes us feel more capable, which is going to make us happier with ourselves. So in chambering, don't take it for granted and think that you're just doing this because it's a traditional thing, right? There's a benefit to it. When we do it, we put ourselves up straight, we put our shoulders back, and we work against that, rounding of the shoulders we get when we're constantly at a desk typing or hunching over looking at our phones or at a tablet, right? When it's a habit, it also has a positive effect on our mindset, because the mind will follow the body. And this is going to help us avoid, defeatist states of thinking when we don't see our potential. We only see limits instead of possibilities. Now, there's a couple ways of doing this. In our style, in our school, we tend to hold the hands up here in line with the solar plexus, right? Sometimes it's taught kind of down here closer to the hips, which is okay, but we prefer to have it up a little higher like that, so it's more of a stretch. It improves the elasticity in the shoulders with a little bit of a better stretch. But you can still do that hands here. You've just got to be mindful that you're not dropping the shoulders down this way, that you're stretching the elbows back. So you have to be mindful of that. If you don't want to train this position because you're not in Kung Fu training yet, then at least realize the importance of posture and make sure that you're sitting up straight, because the body follows the mind and the mind follows the body. Also observe the way you walk, right? If you're walking slouched over and you're walking slow, typically what does that say about you? It looks like that you don't really have anywhere important to go, and you don't really feel very confident about yourself, right? And you don't really have anywhere special to be. But if you just give yourself that little push to walk a little bit faster and stand a little more upright, well, very soon you start to feel more confident, and you realize that you'll find you do have somewhere important to be, because you are important. Please keep this in mind and realize that in good Kung Fu, good Kung Fu is about little hinges that swing big doors. Too often there's a subtle lesson that people overlook in martial arts because they're so wrapped up in the punching and the kicking and what style is better than the other style and all that. And the magic of martial arts has much less to do with fighting than you would think. When you walk confidently and with a smile and you look capable, people are much less likely to be predatory towards you, and they're less likely to want to punch you in the face anyway. So the Grandmaster Chow says, the best defense is a warm smile. But thanks for watching this, and if you've liked the video, please hit the button down there to subscribe. If you're watching this through YouTube, subscribe so you can get more of this stuff, and I hope it's helpful for you. Thank you.